Do you live in Canada and have always wanted to visit a tropical place like Hawaii but never have? Luckily this summer, my mom, my brother, and I took a chance we could not miss. And in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into one of the most stunning landscapes on this planet. Welcome to Vancouver Island, where I'll be sharing my incredible journey with you all the way from Vancouver City to a small coastal village on the western edge of the island, and that is Tofino. First off, let's begin by how you can get to Tofino. You have two options you can choose from. The first being a 45-minute flight from Vancouver City directly to Tofino, and the second option you have, which is the one I had personally done, was to take an hour and a 40-minute ferry ride to Nanaimo, and from there drive 2 hours and 50 minutes to Tofino. Flights can be quite expensive depending on the time of year, and for the ferries, the price will vary depending on how many people and also the size of your vehicle, that is, if you are driving. But to give you a rough idea, 3 people in a compact was about $110 Canadian each way. BC ferries are one of my most precious and favorable moments. I've briefly spoken about it in a previous video about Victoria that you can also check out on my channel. So here we've made it to Nanaimo. This city is located on the east coast of Vancouver Island with a population of nearly 100,000 people. It is 111 kilometers north of Victoria. Nanaimo is among British Columbia's most livable cities, having a favorable balance of lifestyle, employment, and investment opportunities. We spent some beautiful time here also visiting a good friend. If you decide to do this trip, I strongly recommend taking a serene walk in Kinsman Park alongside the waterfront marina, having a delicious raw seafood dinner at the Trollers Fish and Chips floating restaurant in Nanaimo's harbor, which was hands down one of my very favorite meals I've ever had.
The salmon is so good.
And lastly, enjoying a stunning sunset from the top of Sugarloaf Mountain. It's a short upwards trail getting you to a natural viewpoint, which is the peak of a mountain that overlooks picturesque Departure Bay. Oh, and how could I ever forget berry picking? BC is vastly known as a place where berry picking is easily accessible. Just a walk in the park and you'll find numerous berry trees along the side that you can freshly pick. They are so ripe and good.
That rock was about to fall.
Be careful.
Yeah, there's plenty of thorns. If you want to berry pick, you gotta be extra careful. But it's definitely worth the risk. Look at how nice and juicy this one is. Look. Look. You can just eat it right away. It's so sweet.
The drive to Tofino is very windy, a pleasant one nonetheless. If you get car or motion sick, I recommend you pack something to help suppress that feeling. There are 2 incredible stops you must make on your way. You'll be passing through MacMillan Park, which is also known as Cathedral Grove. It's one of the most breathtaking trail walks you could ever experience, filled with very tall, historical growth cedar trees that are about 800 years old. This trail was so unique as a crystal clear river runs right through it. We decided to fill up our water bottles and it was so revitalizing. It's very noticeable how dense the water is that's fed from the mountains, as it's packed with natural minerals.
This is a living stump. They're connected together underground by all the roots. Amazing.
The second stop is Cameron Lake, which is located 15 kilometers east of Port Alberni. It's very neat how there can be large lakes within an island. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. That first feeling of getting to Tofino, standing outside and taking in everything, the ocean, the air, the forest, it's a feeling unlike anything you've ever experienced. You don't need an itinerary per se, as it's a very laid-back environment. In Tofino, there is a long history of mining, fishing, and logging, but it's also a place with a deep indigenous history, a place where balance has been achieved in a way that people live. In the 1980s and 90s, decisions were being made about extraction that people here couldn't live with, and knowing that they were living in a place with not having the abundance of fish and wildlife like they have now was not the future that they wanted. In the 90s, they had Canada's largest act of civil disobedience, where everyone had stood up and said no. They wanted something different. When the first Europeans arrived here, there was about 7,000 to 10,000 people at the time. The land was very rich and it sustained that many people due to how people had treated it. The term Hishuku Stawak in the indigenous language means that everything is connected, that all things are one, and many of these teachings came from the laws of nature, and that Mother Nature will provide for our need but not for our greed. People in Tofino know that the choices they make daily can make an impact on the environment, and so they are very mindful, conscious, and aware of the types of products they buy, where they come from, and where they're made. There are regulations in place now that limit the use of single-use plastic bags and straws, and are now focusing on everything that can be done to minimize the use of disposable items. This is one of the incredible list of things that I loved so much about this place.
This is the Fuji with a bit of spice, dynamite on either side, and then that's your tsunami there.
Perfect, thank you. Long Beach is one of the most scenic beaches in all of Canada, located in one of the country's most stunning natural environments, the Pacific Rim National Park. It spans 16 kilometers long along the west coast, hence its name. Whether you're looking to relax, explore, hike, surf, or just go for a nice walk on the beach, this place is the perfect spot. Secondly is Cox Bay Beach, which is at the south end of the Tofino district, bordering the Pacific Rim National Park. It's nearly 1.5 kilometers long and faces wide open to the west. Across from you, on the other side of the planet, would be the island of Japan. The view is breathtaking. All of the sand here is wet. Look how far out the water is. So that's like extremely low tide right now, but it can definitely reach up to here, probably during nighttime. But they've got some unexpected waves here for surfers. Not the greatest, to be honest, for surfers. Yeah. There's a huge mountain there. Now it's completely covered by the fog. And people are still out there enjoying the waves. And last but not least, along the Pacific Rim is Tonquin Beach. Out of all the beaches I've ever been to, this one is by far my favorite due to its seclusion, as it doesn't get much traffic like other beaches do, because the surrounding protected water makes for small waves, keeping the surf crowd in other locations. The beach itself is fairly small and is a popular spot in the summertime for watching beautiful sunsets. This beach is also close to the downtown of Tofino, and the trail to get to the beach is a 1.2 kilometer trail. Taking extra precautions for your safety, such as carrying a bottle of bear mace, is ideal. A lot of the trails and beaches here are untouched, and as soon as you set foot on them, you're into very ancient forests. One thing I learned recently about the wild that is very important to keep in mind is to not interact or feed the animals, because they'll begin to trust human beings, and that is how they can be easily hunted. I had good intentions with feeding this beautiful deer one night, plus I always research first whether or not a specific animal is able to eat certain foods. Nonetheless, it's best not to. When you learn to respect the creatures, the water, and the environment that we all have to live in, you'll find that there won't be many things that will go wrong. I'm just about to watch the sunset. I'm going to show you guys how beautiful it is. Tide pools are full of amazing and interesting creatures, giving us a unique chance to observe them. It's important to keep in mind that these are active ecosystems. The animals can be injured or displaced by us, so it's best to not poke, pick up, or move them.
Check this out, it's a cave.
Good morning from Tofino. Let's go get some coffee. There are many different options in terms of accommodation. You've got high-end and expensive hotels, Airbnbs, and campgrounds. Regardless of which accommodation you choose, I strongly recommend that you reserve your space at least a couple of weeks in advance, as they get booked pretty quick. What's really nice here is that there's no big box stores such as Walmart, Starbucks, or McDonald's, so it feels very local and very unique, and in my opinion, that just makes this place all the more special. They've got a big sushi menu here. Ucluelet is a beautiful little town that sits 35 minutes south of Tofino. Considering that it's only a short drive from the tourist hotspot and has less beaches, this would be the perfect place to spend a night, as it would be much more affordable. The Wild Pacific Trail, also known as the Amphitrite Lighthouse Loop, located near Ucluelet, is a 2.9 kilometer trail that offers scenic views. This easy coastal path is a great walk around the coastal headlands, where you may get a chance to spot some marine life. Ultimately, Tofino is a place of wondrous beauty, discovery, and opportunities to connect with nature, with yourself, and with others. You'll return home feeling greatly satisfied, refreshed, and rejuvenated. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.